start out with salsa, like we talked about before it's cooked. So we're gonna make a Pico de Gallo, which is a fresh salsa. And it's full of tomatoes, which have lots of antioxidants in them, cilantro, which cilantro is very, very high in antioxidants, and it's also a detoxifier. So if you have heavy metal toxicity in your body, or if you have any kind of poison or other toxins in your body, cilantro helps to like grab onto that and pull it out of your body. So it's a great detoxifier, but only if it's fresh. If you cook it, it doesn't do that anymore. We have fresh sweet onions, and onions are a cruciferous vegetable. And cruciferous vegetables are great for fighting cancer, building up your immune system, and fighting all sorts of chronic illnesses. They help with your blood sugar levels. And garlic, onions, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, all of those vegetables are in the cruciferous vegetable category, and all of those are amazing anti-cancer vegetables and great for your immune system. And we've also got garlic, which is in the same category. And then we've got limes, which are a citrus fruit, which is very high in vitamin C, which is one of your antioxidants, which also the antioxidants are dead if you cook them. So let's just show you how to do this real quick. All we did was chop up tomatoes, cilantro, onions, limes, garlic. Gonna have a bowl here. Show you how quick and easy this can be. All right. Watch this. Ready, tomatoes. Onions. And the ratio is different depending on what you like. Like some people like it more tomatoes, some people like lots of onions. And again, this is intuitive eating, so make this recipe your own. In the recipe book, I've put basic amounts of how you should make the ratio, but really make it your own. If you like less onions or more onions, that's fine. And have you guys used one of these citrus juicers before? They're great. Or Singigi carries these in all shapes and sizes. They're wonderful. I like my Pico de Gallo with lots of lime and lots of garlic in it. So that's what you're going to get for your sample today. You can make it however you like at home. Can you guys bring the salt over? I'm not sure where it is. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to put like probably two or three limes in there. And a lot of your condiments, such as salsa, ketchup, mustard, see what else, salad dressings, they can be turned into fermented foods. So like yogurt, for instance, is milk with a bacteria culture in it, and that gives you all your healthy probiotics to improve your digestion and help with your immune system, improving your immune system, and also it just helps with overall health now. So you can make other things like your condiments and your salsa into probiotic foods, just like milk is to yogurt. You can make salsa into the same thing. By adding a probiotic capsule to it. So if you go to the health food store and go to the refrigerated section where they sell acidophilus and other probiotic supplements, you can just get the kind that says lactobacillus. Now there's two kinds. The lactobacillus is what works on the small intestines, and it also works for your female organs for like vaginal health and that kind of stuff. So also, the lactobacillus is what helps to build up the cultures in your fermented foods. So if you get a culture in the refrigerated section, you just put a couple capsules in there into your salsa and let it sit out on the counter for a day or two. Usually, it depends on what you're making. Usually with my salsa, I let it sit out for a day, and then the bacteria grows in the salsa, and it gives it kind of a tart flavor, so you don't have to put vinegar in there or anything. And then when you eat your condiments, they have lactic acid and your lactobacillus acidophilus cultures in there, and it's very, very healthy for you. And primitive cultures, actually, they fermented and cultured all of their condiments, and the point of the condiment was to help you to digest your food. So if they had meats or grains or beans, they would always put some kind of cultured vegetable with that, and that would help in the digestion process. And it also helps you so your body isn't attacking it with the immune system like we were talking about before. So we're not going to culture this, but I've made this exact same recipe, put a little bit of bacteria culture in, and it works really, really well. Right, so for the acidophilus to grow, it needs to be at least room temperature. So if the two things you need though is enough salt content in there, because the salt makes it so that bad bacteria can't grow in there, only the favorable bacteria can grow. So we're going to put like a tablespoon of salt in here. And then if you put the acidophilus culture in there, that also makes it so the unfavorable bacteria can't grow. So between the two of those, you can leave it out on the counter for 24 to 48 hours and let it culture. And with the salt content in there, you got to cover it up tightly. With the salt content, it will make it so that it cultures. And I will put in your recipe book, I'm going to put the directions of how to do that. So you'll be able to have specific directions to make that work. Excuse me, I need a drink real quick. 1 second. Sorry about that, I've got a really dry throat. So I'll have step-by-step instructions for you, and you can follow those. And I've tried it many times, and it turns out really delicious. So if you have it fresh, it's great for you. If you have it fermented, then it's even better for you. And that's it. There's your fresh Pico de Gallo salsa. And that was quick, it was easy, it's just a matter of chopping up the vegetables, mixing it up, and it's fresh, and it's really, really delicious. And I think just even compared with regular canned salsa, it's spectacular, the bursting with flavor, and it's really way better for you. Next, we're going to show you how to make some fajitas and tacos. And for those of you that were here last week, do you remember the meef? So I wasn't going to call it meef because I didn't really like the sound of that, but it kind of caught on. It's catchy. People are loving it. So I've made 2 more meef creations. And for those of you that weren't here last week, we're trying to get away from meat. The experts are finding that if you eat more than 5% of your daily caloric intake of animal products, and that includes milk, dairy, eggs, meat, fish, seafood, if it goes above 5%, your risk for cancer and other chronic diseases goes up significantly. So we're trying to make everything as vegan and organic and plant-based as possible. So for all the recipes that I've been coming across that call for beef or meat, I'm trying to substitute mushrooms. The studies that are coming out about mushrooms are really amazing, showing that mushrooms are anti-cancer, they help with diabetes, they help to balance your blood sugar, they help with blood pressure, so they have all these amazing health benefits. Also, I just found out that mushrooms are one of the only vegetable foods that have a vitamin D content. So most of the time you just get your vitamin D from like either fish or the sunshine or supplements, but mushrooms actually have vitamin D in them. So I'm trying to use mushrooms instead of meat. So last class we did Mongolian beef, but it was with mushrooms, so we called it Mongolian meat. It was a big hit. So this time we have tacos, so we made a ground meat for tacos, and then we made fajita meat. So like we're gonna make steak fajitas and tacos out of mushrooms that's turned into meat, and I think you're gonna love it. It's very delicious and quite creative. Worked out great in our test kitchen. Everybody thought it was fantastic. So is that okay? Thanks. Do you have, just a second, we're getting this set up. that's just for samples. Sorry, we're going to pause for 1 second. Pause for station identification. Okay, let's make sure we've got everything here. I feel like I'm missing something. Are we good? Okay. Unveil the meat. Here we go. All right, so keeping along the same lines that we were talking about earlier, the more raw fresh fruits and vegetables you can get in your diet, the better it's going to be. I'm also trying to figure out how to make traditional things, including more fresh variations. So I'm going to show you how to make a taco with beef. Now, here's our taco beef. It's really yummy. We tried it last night. And if you look at it, it just looks like ground beef. It's made out of mushrooms, garlic, onions, so your cruciferous vegetables, and then mushrooms. Can you guys see it over there? I can't see, the light's in the way. Can you guys see it now? Okay, so it's made out of mushrooms, onions, garlic, spices, and that's about it. It's going to be in your recipe book, but we're amazed. We thought it tasted kind of like Taco Bell that they put in their tacos. So we'll see if you guys like it. So all we're going to do, we're just going to make a regular taco here, just like Taco Bell, but it's a million times healthier and, in my humble opinion, a million times more delicious. So we've got the beef, we've got the sour cream. We're going to show you how to make this later. For the shell, I'll show you that in just a second. Then we've got lettuce. Now instead of using, what's it called? The round lettuce. Iceberg, yes, sorry. Instead of using iceberg lettuce, the darker your greens are, the more healthy they are for you and the more vitamin content and the richer they are in nutrients. So we're using some romaine lettuce in there instead because it's a lot darker, a lot richer. And tomatoes, some guacamole. And this is just the guacamole. All it is avocados and garlic and some lime mashed up together. And for the sour cream, I'm going to show you how to make this a little bit later. This is dairy-free. It's made out of cashews and lemons and salt and probiotics. So this is another recipe that's full of probiotics for you. So it's going to help with your digestion and your immune system. And since we don't have cheese, I've made a cheese sauce that's also dairy-free. And we've got our taco right there. We'll leave that for photos. Now what you can also do if you don't, watch this, you guys are going to love this too. So if you don't want to use the tortilla, you can just use a romaine leaf like so. And this will also help you to get more greens in your diet. Now the experts are saying right now that if you can eat 1 pound of fresh leafy greens per day, then that's going to be the best thing you can do for your health to prevent and to reverse chronic illness. So anything you can do to get more greens into your diet every day, the better. And also if you can do it in such a delicious format as this, you won't even notice you're getting all your greens in. So we've got this, put some tomatoes on, a little bit of Mexican cheese sauce, a little bit of guac. And it's beautiful. Remember my rules for Cafe Genet. It has to be easy. It's got to be beautiful. It has to be delicious. And then when you're done eating it, you have to feel fabulous. So I think this fills all the rules. And then instead of, if you're trying to get away from grains and other, can you guys see that? I can't say when. Is that good? So if you're trying to get away from eating lots of breads and tortillas, that's a good way to do it, is put it on greens. Now I remember when I was first starting to change my diet, my staples were bread, tortillas, cheese, butter, yogurt, and a little bit of fruit. So that was my staples. And so I remember I went to the doctor, and I'd been so sick for so long. And he said, you've just got to start eating fruits and vegetables. I'm like, well, I do eat fruits and vegetables because I had a salad now and then and I had fruit every day. And he's like, no, you have to eat all fruits and vegetables. And I was sitting there with my mom, and I remember both of us just like burst out crying because we're like, how in the world do you eat just fruits and vegetables? And we just didn't understand. And I was getting like solid 3,000 calories a day of butter and cheese and tortillas and bread and stuff like that. So the concept just boggled my mind. But what I'm trying to show you is, you know, how easy is it to replace a tortilla with a piece of lettuce? Takes a little bit of mental change, takes a little bit of a habit change, but while you're doing that, you're getting away from highly processed grains, which are bad for you, and you're including greens, fresh dark leafy greens into your diet, which are awesome for you. So not only are you eliminating the bad stuff, but you're replacing it with good stuff, and it's just as delicious, just as beautiful. You're going to feel a lot better when you're done. The question about the tortillas I use, you can make them yourself, which is very time consuming. But you can do it. I've got a recipe in the book for how to make your own whole grain tortillas out of spelt or kamut. I try to do things wheat-free as well, because most people in the U.S. are becoming very allergic to wheat and lots of gluten products. So I've got some recipes where you can make your own tortillas. I've got these at the health food store, and they're just made with the ingredients in here is whole wheat flour, organic sunflower oil, and aluminum-free baking powder and salt. So that's the only ingredients in these. Normally in tortillas, these are the only tortillas I've found in the health food store or elsewhere that didn't have hydrogenated oil in them. If you read the recipes, the ingredients on the back, they all have partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated oil in them, lots of sugar, white flour, and those are in the top 5 foods that we want to stay away from at all costs if we want to have good health. So those are one option. The other option is the sprouted grain tortillas. And we're going to talk a little bit later about sprouting grain. These are made from grain that's been germinated and sprouted and then just crushed and made into a tortilla. So those are healthier for you than regular tortillas. These are going to be way healthier for you than those, because anytime you germinate or sprout your grains before you use them, it improves the nutrition value in the grain, and it also improves digestibility. So your body is able to assimilate all the nutrients in these a lot better. And again, the more you cook stuff, the less good it is for you. So minimally processed stuff is the best for you. So there's those. And then we, of course, have the lettuce, or also cabbage. Cabbage works well if you want to roll up tacos and burritos and stuff in cabbage leaves. That works really well. All right, so there's our taco meat. You get to sample that in just a moment. And now I'm going to show you, who loves fajitas? I love fajitas. I remember going to several restaurants, and for years that was like the only thing I would order if I went to a Mexican or south of the border restaurant was fajitas. I loved it. It came out on that little sizzling platter and rolled it up in tortillas with lots of cheese. So we've tried to make a steak fajita, steak-ish fajita. There we go. A steak-like fajita that is good for you. So we've got our onions, and in a previous class I taught you how to caramelize onions. All you do is you slice your onion, put it in a pan that's on medium heat, put a tiny bit of coconut oil in the bottom, and then you just let the onions kind of sit, and they just start to brown. So they'll go kind of clear and soft, and then they start to brown, and just stir them only as much as you need to so they don't stick or burn. But if you leave them cooking for like 20 minutes, they'll just caramelize. You don't need to add sugar. You don't need to add a lot of oil. The sugars in the onions will just caramelize if you leave them. And see. And we also, with the peppers, when we made the meat, there was some juice left in the bottom of the fajita meat. So we just took that juice and we put it in the pan with the peppers, and we just like lightly steamed the peppers with that juice from the meat, and then it flavored the peppers and made it turn out really delicious. Okay, so can you guys see that? All right. So for the fajitas, we just have a tortilla, or you can do it on the lettuce, either one. We're just going to put down the fajita beef. Now, we did these with little mushrooms because that's all we had access to right now, but if you get the big portobello mushrooms and slice them, you can't even tell that it's not steak because it's like the same shape, same color, same smell. So if you have the big portobello mushrooms, do that and anybody will be fooled. They won't know that they're not eating beef flank. I know, it's pretty amazing. I was amazed myself. So I'm just showing, now, you know, for a family dinner, this would be really easy. It's just a matter of chopping up onions, caramelizing them. So you just leave them in the pan for 20 minutes. They cook themselves. Chop up peppers, steam them. You take the beef, all you do is you slice your mushrooms, and I have a little sauce that you mix up with just spices and some lime, and then you serve it on tortillas or lettuce, and it's a vegetarian meal. It's completely filling. I talked to, let's see, what should we put on this? Pico, that's what I want to put on this. I talked to a lot of people that are trying to change their diet, and one of the main concerns is I can't get full eating rabbit food, you know? If I can't eat meat anymore and if I can't eat animal products, what in the world am I going to eat? And so as you can see here, this is going to be totally filling. You can also put sour cream on it. You can put the cheese sauce on it. It's going to be completely filling. It's full of cruciferous vegetables, mushrooms, and lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. And so it's good for you. It's filling. And I think this is something that you can put on your family's table and nobody's going to complain about because it's so delicious.